Hi, everyone. I'll be speaking English. Is the presentation ready? Is it working? While they're getting set up, how many of you guys are from startups here? How many are from banks? All right, so banking industry. Woo! So I'm actually here to talk about, from the startup angle, banking integration. So you guys are all here to understand what is happening in the fintech ecosystem, what is happening with financial services. There's obviously an evolution of financial services, more towards technology, more towards consumer-ready apps, and you guys are here to understand how that trend is going. So we, as Paraşüt, we've been trying to push for this as well in the ecosystem, because we believe that the fintech of the future will be very, very different from the financial services institutions of the past. So I wanted to tell you guys about a project that we've been doing. So let me tell you a little bit about Paraşüt first. By the way, how many of you guys know about the company? Okay, decent amount, a little bit more than last year, so we're making progress. So what we do is we are software as a service, and we are one of the first software as a service companies in the market. We wanted to introduce technology to the COBIs in the market, to the SMEs. And the SMEs make up the vast majority of the economy. 99% of the companies out there are SMEs. And when you think about SMEs and when you research them, you'll understand that they lack efficiency. In fact, they only operate at 1/3 of the efficiency of large enterprises. They lack technology, they lack know-how, and because of that, they don't operate efficiently. And they also lack finance, access to finance. The banks have a hard time banking them. So because of all these reasons, COBIs do not grow very well. COBIs are inefficient. And we wanted to be able to tackle this by introducing a technology that would help them. So we started software as a service accounting program, Muhasebe, for the market. We wanted to introduce a technology that's in the cloud that could be accessed via your computer, via your mobile, anywhere you are. That doesn't require servers, that doesn't require installation, that's pay as you go, and is very, very affordable. So we've been pretty successful doing this, and today we have over 100,000 companies that have tried and used Paraşüt and over 4,000 paying customers. In fact, when you hear about what our customers have to say about us, they always remark on the fact that it's so easy to use, that it gives them the data that they need at any time they need it. And they don't have to have an accounting department. They don't have to go through all this financial knowledge to be able to use the software. So our vision has always been to be able to connect the relationship, connect the workflow for a business with everything that they're doing in terms of finances. So the way you can think about this is a company that's using Paraşüt will be doing business with their customers, with their suppliers, with their employees, with the government, with the banks. And we wanted to be able to connect all these relationships via software. So one of the big things that we wanted to do was to figure out how we can work with banks. We wanted to figure out how we can integrate with banks so that their accounting system is integrated with their online bank accounts, so that everything's synced up together, everything works magically. You don't have to enter data at multiple different points. Your bank is like your ERP system, and your ERP system is like your bank. And that's why we've been pushing, that's why we've been thinking about how financial management software should be in the future. So even before we started the company, we started talking to banks to try to get the banks in Turkey to understand this vision of ours. Because our vision about financial services institutions in the future is that the relationship will be changed fundamentally because of technology. And what you see in the fintech ecosystem in the US and Europe is that the relationships that banks have had with their customers are now disintermediated by fintech technology startups. The startups are really, really good at producing technology that captures that relationship a lot better. That they're solely focused on being able to produce technology, produce applications that do that. So the banks now in the US and in Europe, they're really focused on becoming a platform. They're really focused on open banking. They're really focused on doing the core things very, very well, and then building an ecosystem around themselves to be able to capture some of the other relationships. So while mobile banking and online banking will always be core, you can think about the fact that if you take an Uber ride, you're making a payment, right? And although that's not really banking in the traditional sense of banking, that is payments. So you can start to reimagine the customer journey. You can start to reimagine the customer relationships with banks. And you can start to imagine how you can build an ecosystem of startups so that your relationship with customers becomes stronger and stronger. So we wanted to work with banks to help them with three things. We wanted to help them acquire and retain customers. We wanted to help them increase their transactions. And we wanted to help them to be able to sell more financial products. To be able to, in our specific case, bank the Kobe's a lot better, a lot easier, and acquire these customers a lot cheaper, and keep them around and build a much, much stickier relationship. So we, for the past year, worked with Akbank in the ecosystem, and this is what we did. So in our application right now, and remember this is an accounting application where the customers take care of their invoices, their expense management, get their reports, do their payroll. So in our application, the customer can hook up their Akbank account. They hook up their Akbank account by logging into Akbank, by selecting the bank accounts that they want to import to connect with Paraşüt. And once that's verified, all of the transactions from their online banking goes directly into Paraşüt. So now their financial management system, their accounting application, is directly integrated with their online banking. So our idea is that anytime they receive a payment, well, that payment goes ahead and ties to an invoice. Anytime they use their credit card, that credit card goes ahead and ties in an expense. So now this is magical. Now that when a company uses your bank, they have all that data, so they understand exactly which invoices have been paid, how they've been spending their expenses. They can tie all the banking transactions to the receivables and payables to their P&L. So this is a solution that we wanted to create, a magical solution where banking and financial management is all tied together. And beyond that, so now that anytime that someone wants to be able to use Paraşüt with their online banking, we will also help Akbank acquire new customers. So this is what I mean by acquiring and retaining customers. Paraşüt is a very sticky relationship for customers. Our 60 to 70% of our customers use Paraşüt every single day of the week. This is a much stickier relationship because the first thing that a customer does when they come into work is open up Paraşüt. The last thing they do before they leave is open up Paraşüt. Even on the weekends they check. So we are hoping to help banks create that sticky of a relationship with their customers. So the second thing we did was we introduced payment directly into Paraşüt. So why not, right? You have your invoices, you have your expenses already in Paraşüt. So why not go ahead and just pay for all those expenses? So for example, here we have a purchase invoice. Go ahead, enter the amount you want to pay, and it's paid. Just like that. Very, very simple. You don't have to go ahead, log into your online banking anymore. You don't have to type in the person's IBAN number. You don't have to do all of this. Once it's paid, the other person gets a notification, of course. All the accounts are, the jari is synced up, the jari is reconciled. So the work is a lot easier. So why not just make one payment? Why not make a bunch of payments? Filter for all the outstanding invoices you have to pay. Check all the invoices you want to pay. Click the button, go ahead and get it paid. And then why not put it on mobile as well? You're on the go. If you want to make a payment, go ahead and make paid. So now that banking relationship is reimagined. You don't have to think about banking as the customer needing to log into online banking or log into mobile banking to make the payment, to do the transactions. Why not integrate banking into every facet of the customer's lives? In our case, for B2B, into their financial management software. So by doing this, we're hoping to help banks increase transactions. Now, the third thing that we want to do, we haven't initiated it yet, is when you think about banking for small businesses, probably goes something like this. The branch manager needs to call up the customers, need to visit all the customers, or the customer needs to go to the branch to fill out a loan form, stand in line, to be able to apply for something like a credit or a loan. And most of the time that the financial data the bank needs from the customer is not complete or is wrong. So it becomes very, very hard to bank the customers to give them the right financial products at what is a cost affordable price for the bank and what is a great rate for the customer. So we have data. Paraşüt as financial management, as a financial management software, does have the customer's data. So if the customer chooses to share this with their bank, then we can think about, well, tailor making financial products just for the customer. So to give you a drastic example, let's say this customer is about to run out of money. And we know exactly the financial projections of the customer. So we can help the bank generate a lead for this financial product. So the bank can then say to this customer, well, we know your financial history, you're a solid customer. It seems like you'll need some kind of working capital loan to last you through the next couple of months. Here's a financial product for you. Here's 500,000 liras for you. Would you like to take it? So then we can start thinking about how to use Paraşüt to be able to generate leads for financial products. And this is something that we would like to work on with banks as well. So by doing this, again, we're hoping to help banks acquire and retain customers, help them increase their transactions, help them sell financial products. Now, banks have to reimagine a bit of how they are going to build their technology. So a lot of banks are going to open banking. A lot of banks are opening up their API. This is the case of Akbank, and a lot of banks in the ecosystem are thinking about this as well. Banks then have to build this ecosystem. They may have to be product agnostic, meaning they would focus on a couple core core banking products, and then work with startups to open up their API to startups so startups can start building on top of their API. They have to start thinking about the technology as an app store, as a technology and distribution platform. And they have to actively build a lot of developers in their ecosystem. And then again, they may have to rethink the customer journey. What does it mean to be banking in this century? What does it mean to be banking for the future? So this requires banks, of course, to make that technology investment. It requires banks to start building the ecosystem. There are a lot of banks here that are doing a really, really great job organizing hackathons, actively engaging with the startup ecosystem. So developing a partnership mindset to be able to work with startups is really, really critical. And of course, startups have a really hard time overcoming the regulatory challenges, both, let's say, within the bank and also outside of the bank. So banks really have to think about how to help startups overcome some of these challenges, and maybe working all together, how do we rethink about some of the regulations for the new century. So this is not going to be an easy process. When we did this, for example, we started back in late 2013. So it took us 3 years to get to where we are now. And hopefully with us and with some of the first startups, this process will become much and much easier for the new startups that are going to come along. It will become much, much easier for the banks as well to work with startups. So for example, this could be a sample timeline of something that needs to get done within the first year. Lots and lots of regulatory, legal committees to go through. But this will be much easier. So once we can all get this done, there will be a huge, rich ecosystem. There will be an open banking innovation, fintech innovation in this market, and that's something I'm really, really excited about. Thanks so much. Do I have some time to take questions if anyone has questions? Okay. Oh, one.
Did you have any issues with the legal part of doing this? Because as far as I know, Paraşüt is not a legal accounting program. So the users might not have permission to bank account. So how did you manage that?
There's two parts to the legal thing. So one is to be able to work with a bank, we have to keep our servers in Turkey under certain, certifications and so on. So we had to do a lot of development work to be able to satisfy that part of the regulations. The other part is, yes, Paraşüt, it's whatever data you want to enter, whatever data you want to keep. The only part where it becomes real data, real financial data, is, let's say, if you print an invoice or send a e-fatura through it. So otherwise, it's just a software. Whatever data you want to keep is the data you want to keep. I don't know if that answers the question.
But the users of Paraşüts will have direct access to their online banking system.
Mm-hmm.
So they might send some money through banks. And
yeah, I mean, just like you log into your bank, you can send whatever money you want. It doesn't really matter. It's how you want to use your bank.
Okay.
Okay. And
I don't know. Okay. Hi, my name is Izge. I'm from Digiform. My question is about the recent investment you got from Silicon Valley. So I know that Paraşüt is mostly a Turkish market-focused company.
mm-hmm.
So was there a specific reason for seeking the investment from Silicon Valley, or is it just another?
So the recent investment we got, so one of our investors from Silicon Valley, it's a fintech fund called Ribbit Capital. What the other investor that's been with us from the beginning is Revo. They're a Turkish fund. Actually, the new investment, the lead investor is DCP Capital. They're Turkish technology fund. And then so the two previous investors participated. And then we have DCP and 500 Startups as the new investors. So actually this one was led by DCP, a Turkish fund, joined by Ribbit's 500 Startups, can be considered sort of a global fund as well. We're, from a startup perspective, we're interested in being able to acquire as much knowledge as possible. So some of the funds that are abroad do have the experience that we seek. So it's always great to be able to capture interest from foreign funds for us. So I don't know if that answers your question. Maybe one more? All right, cool. Thanks so much, everyone. It was a pleasure to be able to present what we have been doing at Paraşüt to you guys.